This is Mitch, and welcome to the 1000houses.com podcast. I have Tracy Rewey here, and we're going to be talking real estate lien notes, the ins and outs, how to create them, how to buy them, how to sell them, how to even sell a piece of one called a partial. So
we call those a happy payoff dance at our house. We do a happy payoff dance. It's because we buy notes at a discount. So whenever there's a payoff, that really makes our return go up because we bought a discount expecting a certain yield over 20, 30 years. And now we're getting all that money back sooner. So we like early payoffs. Yeah. It's a happy payoff dance. So
break out the tequila.
Or the nice bottle of wine. But yeah, I gave up tequila. I gave that up.
I gave it all up in case you look at this. I gave it all up. Yeah,
you're looking good. You're being healthy.
Mitch Stephen, 55 pounds later. All right. So, what do you want to say to people out there that are looking for something to do and they're considering the note buying business? What do you say to the newbie out there that's looking for a way to quit the job? He's trying to get an income to surpass what he's getting paid by his boss for the job. What do you say to them?
I think that notes can be one avenue. Real estate in general is an amazing avenue. There's multiple ways that you can participate. So you have to figure out, do you have time to bring to the table, or do you have money to bring to the table, or both? So if you have someone who has time but not a lot of money, then you have to start thinking about referring notes. You've got to be sourcing deals. So in the real estate world, you might start out as a wholesaler, right? You find the deals and bring them to somebody that has the money and you earn a fee for that. In the note investing world, if you found a note and you brought it to me and you couldn't buy it, we could buy it and pay you a referral fee. So we could wholesale a note like you can wholesale real estate. So now you're spending your time to source deals. And there's lots of note investors out there, not just myself, that would love for you to bring me a deal and we'll pay a referral fee. Then you want to get in. Yeah.
Let me say though, so the art of that whole, what she just said was that you could be getting paid to learn a craft.
Yes. Earn while you learn, right?
The guy who knows how to source the most deals is the big winner. The guy that's really good at sourcing them, because he owns the world. And pretty soon he won't need to take fees. They will go on. I know you don't want to hear that, and I don't want to hear that too, but the wholesalers grow up and the note brokers grow up, you know.
So that's the next phase, that you would like start keeping a piece of some of the notes. So you could buy a full and sell a partial. So if there's 30 years left, you could sell off, say, 25 years for the same price you bought 30 years and keep 5 years on the back end. You could even do that if you structure it right without coming up with the money to buy the 30 years and then sell the 25. You can structure that so it all happens at once. So that's where partials are beautiful. Then maybe you can start selling off 20 years and keeping 10 on the back end. And then maybe you can sell off 15 and keep 15 on the back end. But that's future income, right? So you have to think about money now and money later. Yeah.
So my instinct was, tell me this, because I'm not deep in your game, but my instinct is, if I want to go into your business, I am going to start learning how to source notes.
Yep.
And then as soon as I'm confident I can source all the notes that or plenty of notes, then I'm going to go try to source the money guy, and I'm going to become partners with him. Like right now, I'll find them, you fund them. I'll find them, you fund them. We'll form an LLC. And, you know, half of something is better than 100% of zero, right?
Very true. I would agree with you. And then you get to the point where you start buying notes. Now, we love to see people buy notes in their self-directed retirement account because they are a more passive investment than fixing and flipping real estate. So they make a really great investment. There's not depreciation when you buy a real estate note. So we don't get, as note investors, depreciation or appreciation like a real estate investor does. So there are some tax advantages to buying and selling real estate outside your retirement account. Whereas there's all kinds of great advantages to have that interest income, note income, either tax-free or tax-deferred in a self-directed retirement account. So that might be the next place somebody moves into if they're in the note investing world, is to buy a whole note because they want that long-term interest income. But if they don't have the funds to do that, then they're doing what we just talked about. They're finding the deals, sourcing them, referring them for a fee, working themselves into a certain number of deals. Sometimes you can even sell a deal, make some money up front, and keep some payments on the back end. We're not the only game in town. There's lots of institutional note investors out there. There's even some banks that buy these notes and pay referral fees. So the key is marketing and deal sourcing. And that's true of any business, right? Whoever controls the deal flow controls the outcome.
Yeah, whatever business you're in the marketing business, I promise you.
Yes, amen.
Yeah, so you better get good at it, or hire someone that is, figure out something. So that brings me to a point. You know, this episode is sponsored by taxfreefuture.com, and it is where people that want to take control of their financial future, they roll over their current IRAs or tax deferred or tax-free retirement accounts into an account that they self-direct, that they decide where it goes. So they can buy notes or loan money to investors or whatever it is you want to do. And what's cool about Tax-Free Future is, you know, there's free entries to retirement plans where they don't charge you anything, but then there's a bill every year for every transaction, and there's all these fees that get charged. And by the end of the year, you know, you've paid more. In the more transactions you do, and the more your retirement fund grows, the more you get charged. Like I had 4, and they were $3,000 a piece, more or less, about $12,000, because I had worked mine up. I did a lot of transactions. Like, holy cow, I'm paying $12,000 out of my money just to have this account. And so that's why Tax-Free Future was invented, because it's not free up front. It's $1,500 going in, plus the cost of your LLC, because you're going to get a LLC or an entity with checkbook control, so you don't have to wait on trustees to tell you or to fill out your paperwork. And the annual fee is about $200 a year, no matter what. So you've frozen the fee. The annual fee is frozen at $200. It costs $1,500 up front, and you freeze your back end fee, or you get in for free, and then your fees can go to God knows where, you know. And I didn't like that at all. So we started taxfreefuture.com. If you go there, give the little micro information, and then you'll be opened up to about 33 video vignettes showing all the things you can do. And it talks a lot about note buying and how you can use your retirement funds to buy notes or create notes. You wouldn't believe what you can do. It's really phenomenal, but we all don't know what we don't know. This is some of the reasons why the rich get richer. The rich get richer because they're educated about what's legal and what's possible. And that's how the rich get richer.
I agree. And we can all take advantage of tax-free, tax-advantaged investing, whether you do traditional or a Roth or a SEP or a simple, or one of my favorites is the HSA account, the health savings account. You can self-direct those as well if you have a high deductible insurance plan. And it's all those types of things that we can apply. And notes is one avenue to do that. I don't think people realize how much money is out there moving around that's Main Street and not Wall Street. They only think of lending and banks and mortgage companies. They don't realize, as I mentioned at the start, 23.5 billion with a B just last year in seller finance notes. And those were ones that were over 30,000 first position. It doesn't count, and those were real estate. So it doesn't count things like business notes or auto notes or airplane notes or all other sorts of notes. They're just real estate secured notes. Doesn't count things under 30,000, doesn't count second position. That's a lot of inventory. Now, there are certain states that have more seller financing than others. Now, your state, your home state of Texas, it is always top of the list. We track the seller finance deals every year, and Texas is always at the top. But in general, there are 10 states in the United States that make up 70% of that volume every year that I mentioned. So it's definitely something that happens more in some states over than others.
Hey, so I just released a book called The Art of Private Lending, and it shows how to paper that up, how to paper up a transaction. It's really a very affordable. It's $15.99. You can get it at 1000houses.com. You also have a book that you're giving away, right? What are you giving away these days?
Yeah, so we have an ebook called The 5 Ways to Cash In on Cash Flow Notes, and also 21 Tips for New Note Investors. And it goes through how to make money off of most notes. So you might be referring a note, you might be buying it for interest income, you might be doing a partial structure like we talked about, and then 21 tips for looking at a note, because you do want to underwrite these notes appropriately. They are not all created the same, and you do want to protect yourself. So we go through the waterfall of how to look at a transaction, and that is a free ebook, and I know that you're going to make that available in the show notes. So I definitely recommend people go there and download that free ebook.
Yeah, so if you're interested in that giveaway that Tracy's offering, which is very gracious, go to 1000houses.com/notes, NOTES, and that'll take you to the show notes. It'll get you connected with everything that we talk about here. It'll lead to Tracy if you're looking for her. It'll lead to me if you're looking for me. And one of the things I wanted to say is that probably the most important thing that I ever figured out was that if I could just get, this is 27 years ago, almost 30 years ago, if I could just get $3,500 a month coming in, I could quit my job. And the revelation was, that's not wealthy, and it doesn't sound like a big deal, because $3,500 a month in America is really chump change. You know, $35 a month in the United States of America, what are we talking about here? It's nothing. But it was everything I could muster to make. It was the best I could do, you know, in a job, for whatever reason. And I figured out that if I could get $3,500 a month coming in, then I could quit my job, and that would free up 2,600 hours a year. That if I was ever going to get wealthy, I was going to do it. And all that time I was spending with my boss and taking care of their money, I was going to be able to take care of me. So I don't know if the note buying business is for you. I don't know if the real estate house buying seller finance business is for you. I don't know, but find something and replace your income. And it's usually better done in some product that has a decent, if not could be exhilarating profit margin from time to time. Exhilarating profit margin.
I like that, exhilarating. I like it.
Yes. So get some high ticket item or something that you can really make some decent money at when you do it right. And you've got to spend the time. Imagine all those people out there, I'm talking to you, that got a 4-year degree. Imagine if you got a 4-year degree from Tracy Rewey or Mitch Stephen about what they do, and you walked out and you were making, you know, 2 or 3, let's just downplay it, $150,000 on the first year you walked out, and then the sky was the limit after that, you know? Or maybe you walked out after 4 years making $300,000 a year. It's not so much what you were making, it was how you were making it. You were making it from some knowledge that you gained, and it's inside you and it's inside your head, and no one can ever take it away from you. And if you want to ramp it up, you ramp it up. And if you want to cut it back, you cut it back. But no one's telling you when you can go on vacation, when you can go to your kid's soccer game, you know. So figure out something to replace your JOB and have a plan B, because one of these days, the JOB may let you go. And don't be standing flat-footed without some kind of plan. You always got to have the JOB, and you got to have the plan B where you're trying to work yourself out of the JOB.
Yeah, one thing that I definitely, amen, I agree with that. One thing that I do love seeing about the millennial generation is they all talk about the side hustle. And I do appreciate that a lot of them do a side hustle. The thing is their gig mentality, right? Meaning that they've got this side hustle where they do a side gig. And what I would love to bring around, and we're starting to see some of them do that, but I'd love to bring around, okay, be investing mentality, because that will work for you. They really can make your money work for you. And then they say, well, I don't have any money to get started. I'm like, okay, well, let's show you some different ways that you can get started. Because I did not come from financial means. I didn't come from a financial background. I learned all of this. So there's no glass ceiling in investing. It doesn't know your ethnicity. It doesn't know your gender. It doesn't know your educational background. It doesn't know your successes and your failures. And so for me, real estate and real estate notes have been that path. For somebody else, it might be the stock market. It might be cryptocurrency. I don't know. But to your point, find it and do it. We promise you will not be sorry, because you will always be in control of your financial future and control of your time.
Yeah. So we were having this talk yesterday. I was having this very exact conversation. We were talking about, there was two conversations there. My partner says, hey, let's look at this business. I said, I don't like this business, because you go out and you find a customer, you sell them, and then you got to find another customer. There's no residual here. There's no cash flow. There's no subscription fee. There's no payment. There's no, you just have to keep doing it over and over again.
That's exhausting. That sounds exhausting.
As soon as you stop, it stops. So I was saying, then another conversation, the kid was asking me what he should do. I said, whatever it is, make sure it's building cash flow.
Yeah.
It's got to build cash flow. You've got to, if you're really, you want to look at the job as, if I'm really good at this and I do this enough times in a row, can I stop doing it and still just keep the income?
Yeah.
That's the business that you want, is you want the, that you can, if you're really good at it, you'll work yourself out of having to do it.
Yeah. I call that commit to the 3 C's. So for me, it's got to be continuous. It's got to be compounding, or using some form of compounding interest, right? So continuous compounding, and it's got to be cash flowing. So those are my 3 C's that I like to test investments against.
I love that. I love that. All right, go to 1000houses.com/notes. And what's it called? The 5 steps to?
5 ways to cash in on cash flow notes, and 21 tips for note investors.
Very valuable. Start there if you don't have any other place to start. See if it's for you. You know, it can't hurt. And then, this is what I always tell everybody: check out all the strategies, get everything free you can, listen to all of it, you know, go from one to the other, then narrow it down to 1 or 2, then narrow it down to 1, and don't ever look at anything else again, and drill down as deep as you can for free or for nominal costs, you know, a course here or whatever. And then when you are definitely sure this is the business for you, go hire a pro. They'll save you $1,000 hours of mistakes. They'll save you thousands in missed opportunities, because you don't know what a guy that's been in the business 27 years knows. And he's going to shortcut you. And it doesn't take the stretch of an imagination to understand this. You're either going to pay the street or you're going to pay the mentor. And the street is ruthless. The street will take everything you have and spit on you, and it will not stop. It'll compound beating you up. Much less anxiety to go find a pro and pay them to get what's between their ears over and in between your ears much quicker, and so much less anxiety, so much less fear, because you got someone in your corner that's been there before and can help you. And you can't expect them to spend all their time with you for nothing. And they know a lot about making money. Just make sure the person that you pick is A, doing what you want to do, B, is successful at you want to do, or some level that you wish to aspire to above you, and make sure they're the kind of person that you want to be on and off the field. Because if they're not the kind of person you want to be when they're off the field, it's going to cross over in business somewhere, and it'll be a bad day.
Yeah. Yeah, that's good advice. And, you know, there's one other group of people we haven't really talked to yet that if we've got just a few more minutes, is I'd like to just say to people who are landlords, think about, this is a great time to take some of your properties that have appreciated and think about converting some of those to notes, because you can have the installment sale and you can defer some of your capital gains. And now you have a note that's earning interest. So I want people to think about that, because I see a lot of landlords not doing that, not locking in their appreciation, and they're tired, burned out landlords. And notes could, I'm not saying sell all your properties. I'm just saying, just start converting a few. And so that's one group I want to talk to. Yeah.
Yeah. So those guys, those are the people that call me. Those are my favorite clients. They have 80 units, 100 units, and there's always these 10 or 15 at the bottom that are killing them. There's the problem set. And I say, start with those and start with the ones that are vacant and then move through the problem ones first. Well, they start to like it so much and they get so comfortable with creating the notes. And then they, by the time they do 2 or 3 or 4, they're like, holy cow, why didn't someone ever tell me about this? And I said, well, it was there the whole time, you just weren't looking. And then they end up going, you don't have to sell your whole portfolio. You can keep some of that appreciation or whatever, but there's definitely an eye opener when these landlords come over and they start experiencing what it's like to be the bank instead of the landlord.
Absolutely. So that's one group. And I think the other group that could benefit from this are people who are buying properties, fix and flipping, wholesaling. There are a lot more strategies. And we all know that right now it's hard if you're not the best, highest cash offer. So sometimes you can be the best offer if you buy on terms, or maybe you can do a subject to and then wrap it with a seller finance note. There's all kinds of ways that you've got all these low interest rate notes out there written by the banks at 3%. If you can, even if you don't get to resell at 9%, if you just resold at 7 or 8% interest rate, you can make the arbitrage off of that between that 3 and the 7 or 8%. So people, if they will just understand the power of compounding interest, their mind will go, oh, I've been leaving money on the table. This could be another source of deals. If I'm throwing that wholesaler lead in the trash bin, or if there's not enough equity in there to do a fix and flip, maybe the notes would be the answer to that.
Wow, very good. So again, 1000houses.com/notes. Get over there. If you haven't or don't already know Tracy, get to know her. She's been around for a long time, even though she looks so young.
Oh,
and she must be doing a good job, because if she was really stressed out, she couldn't look that good. So, she's got it handled. She got it figured out, obviously. So get over there, 1000houses.com/notes. Check it out. Also check out taxfreefuture.com. They're the sponsor of this episode, and we want to thank them for doing that, because without our sponsors, none of this is possible. So check it out. We're going to call it a day. Tracy, I appreciate you for being on. Where are you located at? Where are you sitting physically? What town?
So physically, I'm sitting in Florida, in Central Florida. I'm originally from Washington State, but we realized, my husband's from Wisconsin, I'm from Washington State. We realized we didn't have to live in snow in the winter. So we've lived in Florida since about 2000.
There you go. Something you can do from anywhere in the nation, maybe anywhere in the world, so that's another plus. It's about freedom. It's not really about how much you make. It's about how you structure it, how you get the cash flow coming in, because really all that money buys you is freedom of movement. It buys back your time, and that's what it's for. Now that first $100,000 a year, yeah, it's taking care of the house payment, it's doing some things, but everything after that, it's going towards your freedom. And that's what it's all about, being able to live your best life, become who you're supposed to be, and do what you want to do with your life, and be able to be with your family and your kids, or whatever it is you desire to do. That's what it's about. And so make sure when you're looking at how you're going to create an income, make sure that you don't get yourself on a hamster wheel, that you can exactly work yourself out of a job. So, all right, this is Mitch Stephen with 1000houses.com podcast. We're out of here. I want to thank each and every one of you for stopping by to get you some Tracy Z or Tracy Rewey. I see Tracy Z. I always call you.
Everybody knows me by Tracy Z. So that
like Tracy Z. Well, I know you better than that.
That's right. Thanks for having me, Mitch. Always a pleasure.
All right. It's been great. Thank you so much. Bye now.
Bye.